Welcome everybody. So we could be in a fight for our very way of life at the moment, and this really isn't hyperbole. In Florida and Texas, they're saying we're seeing this explosion of cases. Is this phase two? Um, but when you look into it, it just doesn't add up. This whole event just does not add up at all. So let me go into detail for you. And if you live in Florida or Texas, you may be able to help to expose this scam. We are being lied to on a massive scale, I believe, and the government, the media are not going to come to our aid. Tweeting at the president and all the rest of it is just not going to do anything, is it? Um, so it could well come down to us citizens to actually attempt to highlight what's going on. And if the evidence just becomes overwhelming, then maybe they will have to cover it. The news media like Fox News or someone. Um, so let me give you the facts here, and hopefully it will become abundantly clear what I'm saying is true. So this is the official site. This is usafacts.org for the coronavirus stats. Okay, for Florida, this is the map here, and now the first thing I've noticed about this map. So this is the cases. This looks remarkably familiar. I thought, hang on a minute, I've seen a map like that before. And yeah, if you go and let's have a look at the election results for Florida back in 2016. Hang on a minute, that looks remarkably similar, doesn't it? And they've used like the same color scheme. But yeah, this I believe is just a bit of a red herring. This is just sort of the population centers, the major population centers. So if we look at Miami-Dade, okay, which Hillary won comfortably. So yeah, she won by 624,000 votes she had there, so 63%. But if we go over to Collier County, where Donald Trump won comfortably, he won 61%, 105,000 votes. So let's go back to the map. So yeah, I think it is just the where the major population centers are. So there's no conspiracy theory there, possibly. So yeah, let's look at this. So this is Miami-Dade again, and the important figure actually, which is easier to follow when I tell you. Yeah, that's 1,803. Just think of that in terms of the percentage of the population of that county that they're claiming are infected. So you just divide by 1,000 basically, so it's 1.8%. Okay, so if we then hop over to Collier County, that's just 1.3%. So again, so there you hang on a minute. So you can have a pandemic with just 1.3%. Or 1.8% of the population are infected, and over Florida as the state as a whole, it's less than 1%. So again, you're going, that seems not quite right. And yeah, I have to question why they use this particular color scheme. And I've got another color scheme. In fact, there, yeah. So let's go over to the deaths. All right, for the Florida. Now, see, this is a little bit deceptive. This graph, and I've fixed this for them, as you'll see in a second. So this graph they are showing, or this image. The color scheme they've used, or the grading they've used, is for all the deaths in the whole state. So currently 3,778. But in the scheme of things, that's very few, as you'll see in a second. So why they've chosen to show it that way? Well, of course, the media and everyone, they're really hyping the hell out of this, aren't they? And you really have to question their reasons. So let's now switch over to my image where, as I say, this becomes abundantly clear. They're just taking us for a ride. Okay, so here we go. And yes, I've renamed the chart here the Florida COVID-19 84, which is a reference to the movie, because this is precisely what this whole thing is. If they are successful in destroying our civilization here, that is exactly what it's going to be like. It's going to be absolutely horrendous if we don't actually stand up and we, the citizens, expose their fraud. Okay, so I've now used some proper scales here. So the one on the left here, I've changed the scale to the population of the Miami-Dade County, the county in the bottom right there, which is 2.7 million. And the deaths, the 3,700 deaths, it doesn't even register. The whole if you do it on that scale, it just doesn't even register at all on that color scheme. All right. Okay. So instead of that, let's change it, and let's say we make the scale all the total number of deaths from the major causes in 2017, and this is from the CDC again, their own statistics, all right, which is 152,000 odd for that year, and still it doesn't register at all. 3,007 is it hardly figures at all. That no, I can't even on the scale here. It's still barely right at the beginning of the scale. This is not a pandemic at all. We are being this is such an epic lie. It's just unbelievable. So I'm actually these are here you go. These are the major causes of death. The latest they're only showing for 2017. So there you go. Heart disease 46,000, cancer 45,000, accidents 13,000, respiratory diseases 12,000, stroke 12,000, Alzheimer's disease about 7,000, diabetes 6,000, and then you get to suicide. So roughly the same number of people that they're claiming have died of COVID-19 84 died of suicide. Now, I mean, the number of people that commit suicide in the whole state is a really small number, isn't it? 3,000. I mean, obviously that's sad that many people took their own lives, but that's still a very small figure. And as I say, in the scheme of things, it's not even registering at all. This so what we need to do is we need to expose this lie. And the way that you guys can do it, if you live in these states, is to go and video these claimed testing centres, okay, in your particular county, and obviously go at a time when it's open, not first thing. Go at a time when you would expect there would be plenty of visitors, and just video it and show how many people are actually turning up. And I bet you any money you are not going to see anything like the number of people that would fit the claims they're making, because they claimed the other day that they had 10,000 odd new cases in one day. And based on the previous testing, they're finding that about 10% of cases are showing up positive. So that would mean they have had to have conducted 100,000 tests in a single day. Now, is that even physically possible? Highly, that's highly questionable. So, as I say, what you guys need to do is um, go to these testing centres in your particular area and take a video, and you're probably going to see very few people there, and they're just lying through their teeth. They're just making it all up to try and justify this whole event. And ideally, if you can also record something with today's day on it, like the paper, so you've got proof of when you went to the when you're videoing the testing centre, so we can know it's today, and upload it to YouTube or wherever ever, and leave a comment on my video. And what I'll do is I'll collate all the videos and see if we can get a clear idea of what's going on. See, I mean, I've been trying to do my best, but I just don't think these prominent people listen to us. Like I sent a tweet to Graham Ledger from One American News, and I'll read it to you. Numbers Don't Lie, which is a short video, two-part video he did the other day, where he's highly questioning the numbers they're quoting to us, and along the lines of what I'm saying, um, but it's not enough. Um, so yeah, let me read this too. So numbers don't lie on COVID was refreshing, but is it dawning on you, with supposed explosion in cases in Florida and Texas, our very nation is at stake? On 7/5/20, they claim 10K new cases from 100K tested. How is that even possible? OAN investigates? And no response. So I sent this to him on July 6th. Um, Yeah, and I've sent several tweets to the president, but I think probably if you tweet the president, yeah, I highly doubt, yeah, they probably don't even bother reading it, unfortunately. Um, and another thing I found here, which was interesting, so I was trying to understand, so when do they even declare, what is a pandemic? And would you believe I found an article um, in part authored by Anthony Fauci. And one interesting thing it says here, I'll highlight it for you. Um, so this section is, here we go, high attack rates and explosiveness. Diseases with indolent rates of transmission or low rates of symptomatic disease are rarely classified as pandemics. So based on that, there's no way in hell that this um, supposed outbreak should have been classed as a pandemic. He's completely changed his tune. That guy, and with Burke's. Well, I'll come to it in a second, because um, I'm going to read to you the letter I wrote to my local. The lady who contacted me from my council out of the blue. I mean, she might have emailed me unintentionally. So let me take you to that now, because this really gives hopefully emphasize the feeling that I'm feeling, and hopefully plenty of you are too. So I say, dear Brenda, that is potentially great news. She was commenting on the new mayor was, I think, yeah, the mayor was endorsing constitutional Republicans, which is good. So I say that is potentially great news, but I'm very concerned that there hasn't been a much bigger pushback by Republicans on COVID-19. And it is extremely discouraging that President Trump, whilst initially highlighting the minimal impact the virus was having on the US, subsequently has allowed Fauci and Birx to run the show, leftovers from the Obama administration, where they have been committing grievous medical malpractice by counting practically all deaths as COVID-19 deaths, which has greatly increased the fear factor. I.e., just because someone tests positive for the virus does not mean that this was responsible for their death, such as someone who has had a stroke, had congenital heart disease, etc., etc. Just when the country started reopening in these hot summer months, somehow we were seeing a huge spike in cases in Republican-held Florida and Texas. And with the Texas governor now introducing a blasted mask mandate in response, just like blackface Northam did very belatedly back on 5/29. I smell a rat hair as the number of deaths continues to decline in states, and I have to question whether these Republican governors are really on the public side here. Why didn't they seriously question the increase? And there is a distinct possibility, as has been claimed, the test is highly flawed. Did you hear the Tanzanian president covertly had a go turn up a papaya tested for COVID, and both came back positive? And or the reason for the marked increase of cases, not deaths, is because they're now adding all those who've had contact with an infected person to the cases totals, who they class as probable cases, which again is highly deceptive. Just like Birx mandating that anyone who dies with COVID should be recorded as a COVID death. See Lisa Haven's recent video for details on this deception, who is a conservative voice on YouTube. I also like Graham Ledger's recent forthright commentary questioning our response to the virus from mainstream media conservative One America News Network. All this is happening before flu season, so how bad could that make things if COVID-like symptoms, as President Trump joked at the Tulsa, Oklahoma rally, has the sniffles, are added into the mix? I see very dark clouds on the horizon, with the very real prospect of our losing our beloved nation, with the November 3rd election being highly compromised by full-on lockdowns. I really hope I'm wrong here, as I really like President Trump. I thought his considerable efforts on seeking a peaceful outcome with Kim Jong-un was excellent. So too was pulling our troops out of Syria, and his negotiations with China on trade have been commendable. Terrible, though, on pushing for regime change in Venezuela, which just so happens to have the largest oil reserves in the world. I thought we might have moved past this, but we can't be perfect. And have fully moved over, and I have fully moved over to the Republican message, originally founded as the anti-slavery party. And the other side, i.e. the Democrats, is the basket case. But I really am not sure it's going to matter what political philosophy I believe in the very near future. It is really sad to see the changes they have proposed in schools, with the CDC stating that transmission by children is minimal. Ooh, I wonder why President Trump's Independence Day celebration was delayed. Was to start at 8 p.m, but now shows 10 p.m. on Fox. Best regards, Daniel. That last part is a reference. I wrote that email just before the Independence celebration on July 3rd, which was excellent. Fox's coverage, unfortunately, was went awry. I don't know what, someone wasn't keeping their eye on the ball there, but luckily I went over to PBS's and it was excellent. You know, they covered it right to the end, you know, with the fireworks and everything. And I thought I was actually quite moved by the whole event. But as I say, is it gonna matter? He's been he's handed over control of this whole COVID thing to Fauci and Birx, hasn't he? So Why? You sadly, you have to say that he's part of this whole deception. But because why would he allow them to do this to us? With the with the clear fraud of the deaths, counting all deaths. If you test with positive, that's counted as a COVID death. That is fraud. He should have this should never have been allowed. So yeah, unfortunately, it looks like he showed his cards there, and that he might not be with the American people at all, because there's no sign, with him supporting, like this warp speed search for the COVID vaccine. You really have to question his motivation, um, and it's as I said, it's down to us. If we don't step up now, we could be, they could be forcing vaccines on us left, right, and centre, and a million people could die because it's been developed perhaps super quickly, and the big pharma are completely immune for any prosecutions. If they develop a vaccine, they are protected by law. So again, but if we can show that very clear evidence that this is a massive fraud, then maybe we can, One American News might choose to cover it. And if they cover it, then maybe Fox News will cover it, and it will be a snowball effect. And then we can bring a stop to this before the election is upon us. But well, let's be hopeful, Ray. But it's going to take quite an effort, as I say. As many as you can. You need to get out there and hopefully prove that that there's hardly anyone going for these testing. I mean, who would voluntarily want to go and get tested for this? Yeah, so hopefully you can show that. And as I say, ideally you want to record something. You could even record your computer with, if you go onto a news site, to show the date and time that you're going to be making this video, so we know it's not like an old video or something. And I will take all these videos and I'll collate them, and hopefully it will be excellent evidence that this is a massive lie, and we can start fighting back. So here's hoping, eh? Bye for now.